haggle over the price, then I would say this episode is for you. Now, pricing is one of the biggest stress points for business owners. But today, I want to flip the script. I want to see if we can flip the script together here. And we're going to talk about how to align your price with your strengths, values, and passions so that instead of feeling like you have to justify your prices, your customers will see why it's worth paying what you're asking to be paid. The goal is really to take price out of the conversation as best we can. So I hope to give you some tools and strategies to do that here today. But before we jump in, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and make sure that you share this episode and all the rest of the Small Business Saturdays episodes with a business owner who could use some pricing confidence. And while you do that, let's get pumped up for this show here on Small Business Saturdays today.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. The power is strong, the vision's so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
Okay, everybody. Welcome into Small Business Saturdays. This is a recorded edition. And so my name's Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group. As you can tell, I am solo today because we are recording this. And as this is going out to you guys noon on Saturday Central Time, I'm actually at my local library hanging out with other entrepreneurs and students at a career and entrepreneurship expo. I'm really excited about that opportunity to get to speak there at our local library. I know for me, I don't utilize a library like I used to, but what I've come to discover is the library is so much more than books. And I would just encourage you guys to go check out your local library. If you haven't been in a while, head down there. Just take an hour, head down there, see the things that they've got posted on the wall, talk to a librarian, ask them about any events they have coming up. It's such a great resource that I think is really underutilized. So I am super grateful for the St. Charles County and city libraries that we have and what they do to support the community. So with that being said, I want to dive right in here and get to what we wanted to talk about today, which is value isn't about price. Right? And really what this whole pricing conversation is about is value alignment. And so we're well into, I think what this is, the fifth week of talking about taking our SVPs and utilizing those incredible strengths, values, and passions that we have as business owners and utilizing them to better align all the parts and pieces of the foundation of our business. And so this week, talking about value alignment, we'll start off with the mindset pillar here. And as I mentioned, value is not necessarily about price. In fact, value and price are two separate things. Cost and value and price are separate things. And ultimately, the mindset we need to understand when it comes to value alignment and setting our pricing is your pricing is all about perception. And I get that pricing is hard. I make it a point to ask as many people as I can, what's the biggest challenge in your business? And crunching the numbers, about 85% of all the people I've talked to in the OSG community have told me that pricing is their number one struggle. And I've come to discover in further conversations that it's a struggle because with pricing, we think that it's just about a number. How do I get to the right number that's going to sell more products? And price is the focus. But price isn't about the number. It's about the value that your customer perceives. Ultimately, your best pricing strategy is to not talk about a number at all. right? If you can get to the end of your sales process with a potential customer, whether that is actually an actual conversation or as they're coming through your website or however it is that you sell, and they get to the end and go, oh my gosh, there's so much value here. Where do I sign up? And then they go, how much? And you give them the price and they go, wow, that's it. Right. That's the golden area that we're trying to find here. So let me give you a quick example of this idea, right? Let's just take I know I talk to a lot of people that are t-shirt printers, but even if you're not a t-shirt printer, I think you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. And so let's take a plain white t-shirt, and I'm going to take this from a retail perspective, right? So for those of you that are printers, the numbers don't really reflect what we can buy them at wholesale for, but from a retail perspective, right? You could go to Walmart and you can get a 2-pack of plain white t-shirts for $10, right? So that makes it $5 a piece. And I've also gone out and found places where you can also buy a plain white t-shirt for $100, $200, $300, right? And yes, there may be a little bit different thread count, a little bit higher quality and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's still a plain white t-shirt. So what's the difference? Why can somebody sell that similar plain white shirt for $300, but Walmart's only able to get $5, right? Or whatever you feel like is the story about what you can get. I can only get this much for my product or service. And it's really about perception, right? It's about the brand, the experience, the story behind that $300 t-shirt versus a $5 t-shirt. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if your customers don't see the value, and we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go along, but sometimes we get stuck in the trap of thinking value is a number. Value is just how much we're willing to exchange for what you are offering. Right? So I might look at something and go, yeah, I don't see the value in it. That's not for me, right? Like a pair of high cost shoes, for example. I know I've used the shoe example because my son and I both differ in this world, right? We're dropping, a couple $100 on a pair of tennis shoes to him is totally worth the value that he sees in it, right? And I get a little cranky about spending more than $80 on a pair of tennis shoes, right? So it's all about perceptions. And if your customers don't see the value in it, then the only thing they have to compare it to is, well, what's the cheapest that I can buy that is going to give me a similar value, right? So ultimately, pricing isn't about the number, right? We have to have a guardrail, and there's a lot to be said about that. And I'm going to share something with you here at the end in a little bit about a way that we can talk about the entire pricing strategy in general. And I've got some resources coming up for you on that. But at the end of it, the pricing strategy that's going to work for you is really more about how you position your offer, right? And the price will be the numbered price will be a reflection of the value that you offer. But that numbered price needs to be secondary to the experience or the transformation that you provide, right? And I know some people might be going, transformation, Aaron? Come on, right? Like for my apparel decorator friends out there, they might go, it's just a t-shirt, right? Well, right there, you've just devalued what you do. It's not just a t-shirt. It is a transformation for that person. And now it might not be what you would consider a world-altering transformation, but the reality is you are transforming a challenge that they faced, and you are helping them better their world, their immediate world. And now, if you're a coach, for example, right, you are providing transformation, you're providing an experience. But sometimes we talk about our pricing, we talk about our products and services in such a way that people go, that price seems out of alignment with the value, right? And some people might go, oh, wow, that's way more, like they really think highly of themselves and I don't see it, right? Or vice versa, going, that would seem to be a lot higher price tag than I expected, right? So sometimes you can price yourself so low that you price yourself out of the marketplace because people go, that's just too good to be true. They're just stealing my money, I think, right? Like these are some of the conversations that we have in our head when we're making buying decisions. But the real problem is when your price is out of sync with who you are. That's the trick, right? That's the key. When it's out of sync with your strengths, values, and passions, right? If your strengths or values and what you're passionate about is all about high end and really workmanship and being proud of what you put out there, and then you try to set up a pricing strategy / scheme where you just figure out a way to, oh, it's only $20 a month and they're not going to notice it. It's going to take them forever to cancel this membership to my, t-shirt of the month club or the price or the YouTube channel, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's going to be pushing up against your values. And then everything's going to feel harder and you're going to start attracting the wrong customers and you're going to start second guessing yourself. And ultimately, worst of all, you're going to end up resenting your business. And here's the deal. I know this because I got there. I went there. And it took me a lot of really challenging times and difficulty to get to a point where I finally realized what was wrong. I was pushing up against my value. So I had to blow up my entire pricing structure and strategy and dig my way out of that hole that I built because I didn't really think about this. So that's why I get so passionate about sharing this with you guys is I don't want you to experience the same challenges that I went through. But let me give you, okay, you guys might go, okay, well, that's you, Aaron, but how does this affect me? And I understand that. And so maybe give you an example that might hit a little closer to home for you. I was working with, I'm so blessed to get to work with so many different types of business owners, but this particular owner was very involved in the personalized gift market. Their fourth quarter sales were where they really hit things deeply, and they were pricing based on this kind of spreadsheet idea of a cost plus markup, and just constantly struggling to have enough sustainable business that it was really working for it. But what we were able to discover was it wasn't for them. It wasn't just about selling products, right? Ultimately they started the business to create these meaningful moments of gift giving and opportunities to show somebody that you cared. And so just with the simple raise of the price and then positioning themselves around the connection as opposed to the trinket, the thing. And that when I say trinket or thing, this in no way belittles the product that they were offering. What that means is the customers don't actually care that much about the thing, right? I think in the world today, we've got plenty of things. What we want are experiences. What we want are stories. And so when the price became the least part of what their pricing strategy was all about, they raised the pricing to match the value that they wanted to provide. And then they spoke only about the value they provided and talked very little about the thing, right? Like, yeah, you could find some technical details about the thing on their website, but that went from being the main description to, oh, here's the technical details, right? And when that changed, that opened up to everything. Demand went way up. And so sometimes we go, man, I just need to lower my prices to get more business. But I've found more often than not that if you want to get more business, try raising your prices first and see what happens, right? Like, wouldn't it be awesome to raise your prices and get more business as opposed to have to discount or drop your prices to get more business? So take a moment, right? Be really honest with yourself here. Are you undercharging? If you're unsure about your pricing, I'm not going to be prescriptive and say that this is right for everyone, but I would say there's a pretty good probability that if you're struggling with your pricing, that it's more likely that you're undercharging than overcharging. And so ask yourself this question: am I pricing based on my worth, or am I pricing based on what I think people will pay? So let me give you that one more time, because I want you to write this down and I want you to ponder it. And I'd love to hear. I'd love if you guys would go over to our Facebook group here at osg.link/group. You can see it on screen there. And start a conversation about this. But I want you guys to write this down, and I'd love to hear your answers. Am I pricing based on what I'm worth, what the service that I provide is worth, or am I pricing based on what I think people will pay? And I would encourage heavy honesty here, right? Come over to the group. It's a non-judgment zone, and just be honest and see what happens. Because once you start being honest, then people will see, oh, that's an authentic person. I want to connect with them. How can I help them? And they're going to start giving you perspectives. I'm going to jump in there and give you perspective. So one last time, so you can write this down. Ask yourself this question. Am I pricing based on what I'm worth, the product or service that I offer is worth, or based on what I think people will pay? All right. So if you've ever hesitated to raise your prices, right? And just do this. I know this is a recorded version, but I will come back and check the comments here. So just drop a comment in there right now. Drop a yes if you've ever hesitated to raise your prices, right? And like I said, I'd love to just drop a yes if you'd like, but if you would, what I'd really love if you would say yes, and then maybe give a little details as to why, right? And I'm happy to share some of my perspectives with you on that. All right. So that covers the mindset part of all this. Now let's dive into the fundamentals, the practical application of what I've just been talking about. So how do you align your pricing with what you do best, right? And the first step is, in my mind, extremely clear, right? Like, how do you align it? Well, first you have to define it. Right? To align anything, you must first define it. So what makes you unique? Your pricing should reflect what makes you different, not what makes you the same as everyone else. The cool part about the SVPs and our reason is it's like a fingerprint. No two peoples are the same. Even if we had similar strengths, similar values, and similar passions, the nuances inside of us make every single person's completely different, right? And once you define that, then you can start making it the foundation of your pricing strategy. So while you started writing down that question I just asked you before, write down some other questions for yourself to just ponder when you have a moment. What are you naturally great at? Right? Ask yourself that. What am I naturally great at? What do your customers value most about working with you? Right? Ask yourself, what do my customers value most about working with me? And then put some honest answers in there. The third question is, what transformation do you provide beyond just a product or service? Right? So the transformation might include, and the vehicle might be the thing, and even service-based businesses, it's not about the service, right? That's just the vehicle, right? So I work with people to hone in on their strengths, values, and passions. But my business is not about the SVPs. That's just the vehicle to help you transform your business into a more aligned business that you love what you get to do each day. Right? That's the transformation I provide. So for you, right, what's the transformation that you provide? And depending on what you sell, sometimes that'll be a little harder to pick out, right? Like a coach, yeah, you really probably should have that nailed down really well. But somebody that's selling maybe a product, like a gift product or something like that, that's a little bit harder, but it's not impossible. And it's actually not that much different. Because a gift product, for example, the transformation is how they feel about themselves once they've given a gift from their heart. Could be an example, right? So looking at it that way. So that's the first step. Just really define what makes you unique. The second step is to shift the focus, right? And we've talked about this already, but I want to keep hammering this point home for you, because I believe this is really where the switch flips, right? When we start shifting that focus. I'm going to make a statement here, and this is not meant to be all encompassing, but it's going to sound all encompassing, right? So this is like when somebody says, I'm not trying to offend you, but so it's not really that way, but I'm going to make a blanket statement here and just see if it hits for you. If it doesn't, then that's okay. Leave it. Right. But I believe we spend so much time focusing on the product, the tool that provides the transformation, that we forget about the transformation, because the transformation is for somebody else. I'm focused on mastering the craft of the product, service, the tool. Your customers are focused on the transformation. So we have to take ourselves out of our shoes, and why it's so important for us to master our craft and put ourselves in our customers' shoes and meet them where they're at and talk about the transformation. And so one of the fastest ways that you can increase your perceived value, like immediately, like right now, is to stop talking about what you sell and start talking about what your customers gain. In fact, if you never talk about what you sell and only talk about what your customers gain in the marketing process, in even this first part of the sales process, you're going to be better off and you're going to be able to charge more. So for our decorators out there, right? And instead of saying, I sell embroidered bags with a custom message. That's awesome. Yeah, right? We can kind of quickly get that. And immediately we go, okay. And then we start going through the Rolodex in our head going, where have I seen that cheaper? Where have I seen that cheaper? Where have I seen that cheaper? Because it's just about the thing. That's the only comparison, like thing to thing, right? But if you talk about how you create a connection and a way for people to share what's important to them, right? Because if I'm carrying a bag around with a message and I set it on the table next to somebody, they're going to go, oh, what's that message mean? Right. And so if you just change that story to creating connection, to giving people an opportunity to gain their voice, and who is it that you're serving? Maybe it's people going through a tough time and they just need that reminder that's over their shoulder about what's important, right? Maybe it's a Bible verse or whatever that could be for you. But when I talk about that, I don't talk about the bag, right? I don't talk about the thing. It's not until somebody goes, yes, please, that you go, okay, cool. Here's the mechanism. Here's the bag. And then they go, awesome. Yeah, I want the transformation. That bag sounds like it could do it for me. So just tell me how much you need me to send you. And you go, okay, X amount of dollars. And they go, oh, wow, that's way less than I expected. Right. Whereas if you just started talking about the bag and they told them the same price, the likelihood of them going, that's more expensive than I had kind of imagined in my head. So I'm going to look around. I'm going to go price shop. So here's the challenge that I want to put out to you guys. I've given you some homework already, but I want to keep this rolling because I think there's a ton of practicality in what we're talking about today that can transform your business so quickly with just a little bit of your effort. Rewrite one of your products, services, whatever, rewrite that description to completely get rid of the thing, the tool, the mechanism, and only describe the transformation. Only describe the transformation. Okay. So there's your action step for that. So step one was define it. Step two is shift your focus to transformation. Step three is to then put a number, a pricing option that will empower your customers to get rid of the excuses. Right. So I was talking recently with some friends and we were talking about a program that we put out there in the world. And there was some like, oh, well, maybe it's too expensive, or maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And we kind of got to the point where like, you know what, let's be honest with ourselves. It's not about the number. It's about the lack of clarity on what the transformation is. And, so we might be, and it wasn't the case in this conversation, but I know business owners are afraid to raise prices because they think they're going to scare off customers. And the reality of that is true. You will. But here's why that's okay, because the customers you scare off were not your customers to begin with, right? They were just people that were giving you money and it was about the money, right? And so if that's a scary thing and you're just not quite willing to allow that to be your story yet, then create some options, right? Give them the option, give them the good, better, best, right? Because when we have choices, we're more likely to buy. And here's how I might align this kind of idea of good, better, best is you're going to price one package at or one service, one product at kind of the standard pricing, right? The good, this is a good product, but it's value driven in, it's a lower price. And that's going to be the thing, like, okay, I can do that. I can still make some money on that product, but it's not my deep heart and soul into it where I can just crank that out, right? And just put that out there, because that'll allow you that confidence to go, okay, well, at least I'm not scaring off all my customers. I still have that low price option. Then set your premium experience, the better. And you can look at this two ways. So for me personally, I might kind of go, okay, what do I really, really want to do? And put it here in the middle at the better option, or that premium option. And then make that price higher than you've been charging, right? And then you have a VIP or an exclusive, the best option that's really like, okay, lots of value added services, lots of more put into it. For me, the people that I tend to attract are the ones that are going to go, okay, VIP thing's not for me. It's too much, but I don't want the cheap stuff, so to speak, right? This is, again, the conversations is going on in people's head. And so they go with the middle option. Now, some of you guys, though, might find that most of your people are actually probably looking for the VIP experience. And so that's okay. But when you give those three options of good, better, best, now you can take out some of that concern or fear over scaring off customers, right? But you've still managed to raise your prices. And my guess is, now here's where you got to then be a good business owner, is you have to now track this. Go, okay, when I set up these three pricing options, that's the 0 point. 1 month down the road, which did most people choose, right? And just be honest with that, right? Like, okay, what does that mean? If I keep getting the lowest end one is the one that people are choosing, then go, what's my message? Am I not attracting the right people? And then go, am I okay with that, right? 2 months down the road, same thing. Take a look, see what's happening. If you needed to adjust your message after 1 month, again, kind of zero things out and give it another month. Okay. In that second month, do the same thing. See if there's been any shift. Now, in the third month, you have that review one more time, and maybe you made some shifts at 2 months, but don't change too much. Definitely don't change the pricing yet. Okay. But at the 3 month point, now you've got 3 months worth of data to where you can say, okay, what's the reality? What happened? And then if you're cool with it, like if you liked having those options, great, keep it going. But what I would suggest is say, let's make it simple. I'm going to take out the two that weren't selling. And then see if you can go all in on that price point, right? So just think about some ways that you can create options for your customers, and that allows you to change your pricing without needing to go through that fear of, I'm going to lose all my customers when I raise my prices by 10%, by 15%, by, whatever the inflation rate is right now. And, $9 for a carton of eggs, right? Like, think about the math there. Think about how much that's increased in 3 months time, how much but yet as small business owners, we won't do that. But the grocery stores, hey, it is what it is. You want eggs or not, right? Like, so, all right. Let me kind of close with this in this section. A lot of times we set our prices and then we use that amount of the sale, the amount of sales we get from those price numbers that we set as an indicator if the price is right for you. But the price number itself probably had way less to do with the amount of sales than the amount of people who even knew that you had something for sale. So if you set your prices too high, you might end up being worried about what other people are going to think, right? Oh, do they think I'm just a cheap person? And maybe you're going to be worried that you're going to get too much business and you're not going to know how to handle that. And so you're going you're going to hide. You're going to keep that a secret. It's not good, right? Now, on the flip side of that, you might feel like you've set your prices too high, and you're going to start having those worries that people think you're greedy, or they're going to question your worth. And that also is not good. You're going to hide that as well. So ultimately, what you need to do is look at your strengths, values, and passions, go and be honest with yourself, and set the right price for you that will allow you to shout it from the mountaintops and believe in the value you provide. Right. And I know that's a big statement, right? Like, Aaron, I came here for answers and you're telling me to just go with what I wanted to go with. I am, and it's okay. Right now, there is a way that you can have a much better structure around this and really start pricing with confidence. And so I do want to share with you guys, just released the Profitable Pricing webinar series and workshop. And the webinar series is a free training that is designed to help you set prices that reflect your true value and then start attracting the right customer. So if you'll go over to osg.link/value, these are going to be live on April 4th and 5th, but they are also recorded. The webinars are recorded. So even if you can't make the live, the webinars are recorded, so you can watch them at any time, and all you got to do is register and you have access to them, and they're yours. You don't need to be there live. We'd love to have you there live because I'd love to interact and get your comments and questions as we go through it. Also, when you sign up for this webinar series, you get a workbook that will go along with it, and you will have access to our exclusive workshops for people that have registered. And the workshops are an opportunity to work directly with a group of people, me included, to implement this information into your business. So the workshops are a paid opportunity. And when you invest in yourself there, you're not only going to be able to implement all of this profitable pricing information and ideas that we give you in the webinars, right? Because you can do that on your own, 100%, right? I don't hold anything back in the webinars. There's not like a secret thing that I'm going to give to the workshop people. All the information is there. The difference is you have to then go do that yourself. And if you're good with that, then do it. I'd love it. I want to see you have transformation and change to where you can confidently price. But most people find a ton of value in that opportunity to have additional perspectives, to get to work with somebody. And actually, it's even the accountability, right? You could take this information, okay, that's great. And then, 6 months down the road, I'm like, I should really do something with that. I don't have time right now. But when you sign up for a workshop, you've got a 3-hour block that you're going to commit to. We're going to be together. We're going to work through that. And then you're going to have access to me whenever you need me after that. I love pricing. Right? It always blows me away when people say pricing is a struggle. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. I can't wait. So anyhow, go to osg.link/value. We can talk about the workshops later. You guys can reach out to me directly with any questions and go from there. So you guys got that? Obviously this is recorded, so that's rhetorical, but you can do this for me. Just put webinar in the comments if you've registered or you plan to register. I just would like to start getting a straw account. I can certainly count when you guys register, and that's fine. But you're doing me a favor by putting webinar into the comments right now, because other people are going to go, oh, they saw value in that. I'm going to sign up too. So share that with your friends as well. osg.link/value. I'd really appreciate that. That would mean a lot to me if you guys would share that. Okay. All right. So let's wrap this up. For recorded one, this is a lot longer than normal, which is great, right? Like I love being able to give as much as I can here. But we're going to wrap this up with the wellness side pillar of our Small Business Saturdays, and really talk about the confidence aspect and how we can let go of the fear. Because from a wellness, from a holistic, how am I looking? Fear equals anxiety, which equals stress. And stress is not healthy for us, right? And so my encouragement for you on the wellness side is to let go and stop second guessing yourself, right? Let's all make a pact together that we're going to do our best to just let go. Because at the end of the day, the biggest pricing mistake isn't charging too much. It isn't charging too little, because you assume people won't pay. The real honest truth, and the thing that I've found to be the biggest pricing mistake that I've met, is I didn't believe in my price enough. I didn't focus on helping my customers understand what they were getting for the value. But if you believe in that value first, then you're going to have more success, right? And so we're kind of tackling this backwards. Oh, I'm so worried about it. But I'm going to worry. And so that way I get it perfect. And then I'll get customers. It doesn't work that way. You're not going to get the right customers until you let go of the worry, right? So instead of thinking things like, I can't raise my prices or I'm going to lose customers, maybe you could ask yourself, how can I show my customers why my work is worth it? Right? Start there. And there you go. There's another great conversation to have inside the Facebook group at osg.link/group. We could also have it right here in the comments, whatever works for you. How can you show your customers why your work is worth more than the number that is so prevalently talked about, right? Because it's not that people care about the pricing as the number one thing. It's that we don't give them anything else to measure our worth than the number that we put down as here's what the cost is. Here's what the price is, right? So I'd love for you to write down 3 reasons why your work is worth more than what you're currently charging. Write them down, share them with me, then start sharing them with the world, start sharing them with your ideal customers, right? So the wellness side of this, short, sweet, and simple. Let's let go of the second guessing. You are doing exactly right when it comes to your pricing. And the only real challenge we have is not believing that we're worth what we're charging. Okay. So small business rock stars, that is a wrap. If you've ever struggle with your pricing, I do want you to take action today. I'd love you to take action today. Go back through your offers and see if they truly reflect your value. And if you're unsure, ask me. Start by posting in the Facebook group like that's on the screen there, osg.link/group. Whatever's right for you, but you're not in this alone. Don't go it alone. I'm here. I'm waiting. I can't wait to have that conversation with you. I know that I'm busy. I might be recording this. I might be at the library right now. But if you sent me a message while I'm at the library and this is a Saturday, I will do everything in my power to get back to you today. And then we'll find a time that we can figure this out together. So we've got this. Let's do this together. As I close up here, I just want you guys to just remind you to make sure that you have liked and subscribed, like this video, subscribe to it, share it. A rising tide does lift all boats, and other people need to hear this too. Here's the other cool part. If we can all get to a point where we're pricing based on our value instead of the rat race to the bottom, the whole market's going to be better. And even people that are spending more for products, their worlds are going to be better and they're willing to spend more. And we're going to create this abundance across the board just by being the ones that start pricing based on our value. So pricing is not about what you charge. It's not about the number. It's about the story. It's about the experience. And it's about the transformation that you provide to your ideal customers. You are worth it. They are worth it. So show them, prove that to them. Okay. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. I can't even tell you if we're going to be back live or not next week, but there will be another wonderful episode. Next week, we will move into the fundamental formula portion that is our business blueprint. So we're going to talk about aligning your strengths, values, and passions to your ultimate plan for your business and how you've created that plan. And so I can't wait to have that conversation with you guys next week. And hopefully we'll be back live and we'll have Kylene along to bring in her amazing perspective. But one way or the other, we're going to have Small Business Saturdays next week. So thank you, you guys. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your Saturday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake.